Alrighty. Happy Monday again. I'm gonna grab chat here on my phone so I don't forget. We've got a couple things. So we're gonna finish up talking about the intro to JavaFX, spend the rest of the week on JavaFX as well, all of next week on JavaFX, you guessed it right, and then moving into the end of December, we've got final project work time. So I know you folks have other finals and other things going on, but this time is just set aside for you to work on the final project. If you paired up with somebody, might be a good time to work with your partner. And this time we probably should have set aside. And if you're just working individually, great. Come and ask questions or ask me remotely. Whatever's going to work well. Does that need to be zoomed for the projector? Is that it's not too bad, right?
No,
Okay. And then December 20th, the last day of the semester, lucky us, we're going to do our presentations. Right, so the project 4, I pushed out the due date until today, but because I gave you in the Tuesday night class the same project, I don't, if you need like one more day, that's the last possible day, great. I'm going to go over the answer Tuesday night with them. And then I'll go over it with you guys Wednesday morning, if that's all right, instead of today. It's not that I don't think anyone from the Tuesday night class watches our class, but, we'll wait to go over that answer till they have to turn it in too, if that's all right with you. That'll be the last individual project. I scored all the project 3s. Those should all be in for you. So I think everything should be in except for project 4. And we're going to do one last quiz on JavaFX after today. I'll post that for you. And that'll be the last 2 items aside from the final project score that'll go in the gradebook there. So everything else should be up to date. You should see where you are standing wise. Of course, it's not connecting to chat. All right, there's no chat, so my phone has been really fritzy lately. Just randomly reboots itself, which is sad. I feel like phones shouldn't do that, but what do you know? All right, so let me fire up NetBeans here. Wow. That was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, because of the break, we talked about how we set up JavaFX projects. So a little bit of setup involved, right? Getting the library set up, downloading that OpenJFX, setting up Scene Builder. That's a quick install. It's a much nicer way of dealing with graphical user interfaces than doing it all by code. And there's nothing wrong with doing it by code, but I'm all for easy, especially as we're just getting started in this. So the textbook takes you through doing it the hard way by hand, which it's more flexible that way, and you can do more things with it programmatically, right? If we're coding all of our UI by hand, adding in the components, adding in all the pieces here, setting all the things, you can do more. It can be more flexible for sure. But what we're focused on, just getting something up and running, getting the basics of our graphical user interface applications. I think Scene Builder is going to work way better for us. And we'll go through some examples. We'll finish up the basics, the controls today, and then throughout the week and next week, we'll look at some of the layouts, some of the containers, other ways of organizing things, and then how we can take a class and use that in a user interface, but not have the user interface code have all the things that the business logic class should have, right? If we're building a little coffee shop, the UI we build, here's all the buttons, here's all the things you click, here's where we're going to show stuff, and then we'll have our class with all the logic. Here is the item that you're going to buy, or here is the receipt, these are all the things you're adding here. And anything we need to do with that logic for getting totals and adding tax should happen in our class code. And then in our event handlers, when you click buttons, we say, okay, you click this button, class, go do this thing. Okay, labels, go show these things. So it's kind of this nice division of here's what it looks like, here's what I called my class code to go do, and then I go display the results. So kind of breaks up this idea of the separation of concerns. You don't necessarily need to go that route, but it's going to make life easier for us, and again, promote good object-oriented programming. If you want to do it the hard way, your event handlers can just do everything. But then you have one method that is just a monster, and it's really hard to manage and maintain and to be flexible. So ideally, we're going to break that out into our business logic, all the classes that will do all that stuff for us. And when then our button handlers, when you click a button or do something, we just go tell the class, hey, go do the method, please. And we get some results back. So we'll take a look at that. So we had two options. One was starting the project by hand and adding the library, adding the run options in the VM modules, adding the library to the class path. A couple steps. It wasn't too bad. Or we could copy paste the project and rename it. So I'm going to go through the steps by hand one more time, but you're welcome to use the copy paste route. So I've got that project example. You follow it, do it once on yours, and then you can copy paste it if you want. So with JavaFX, all we went through was making sure that the add-ons were loaded. We don't actually use the FX projects. We go back to a Java with Ant project, Java application. We put this in the right folder here. 1500. So here is more GUI fun. And then I'm going to go up to the GitHub repo because I can never remember all this stuff, and that's why I write it down in the comments. There we go. So our GUI hello world. I have to do a couple things. So I should have it all written down in here. Yep. So these notes. Oh, come on, that means make the project a little better than that. All right. I probably won't before the semester ends, but I definitely will get a new laptop because this is frustratingly slow. And who doesn't want new toys on like Cyber Monday deals and stuff? We'll see. Maybe they'll have a good deal on it. All right. So we're going to go to the project, go to the libraries, right-click, and add library. Add our OpenJFX 17. So OpenJFX 17. Great. That was step one. Now we're going to right-click the project, go to the run, add this to the VM options. Right-click the project, go to properties, go to the run section. In the VM options, paste in that line. Great. And then the libraries, the run tab, add the library again. So right-click the project, go to properties. Now in the library section, go to the run tab, and add to the module path the OpenJFX. Great. We got that one there. And then one last check, make sure we're using the same JDK and JFX versions. We started with 16. You might be on 16 or 17, depending. So mine's on 16. I definitely want to change that to make sure that I'm using 17 to match the JFX. That's the one other last thing to check. Okay, come on. Still no chat. Hey, Dodo. Thanks for coming along. Can't get chat on my phone here. Oh, it's because I'm trying to connect to the Wi-Fi. Let's try that. All right. Then our program, our class, then will extend application. The application from the JFX, open JFX. How it works, now the light bulb works. I think I was having trouble with that the first time. So we're going to add the import for JavaFX.application.application. Okay, now we get this other error saying, hey, we need to implement our abstract methods. Great, we're going to go do that. We get a start method. Then in start, we can pretty much copy paste again. It does a couple things. We got to add our imports again. So we'll add some imports. Add some more imports. Add an import. All right. And then the last thing, this name here is going to be whatever name of the fxml file we add. It doesn't have to be example. Right? It's just whatever file we want to go add here. So in our package, we're going to right click and say a new. And if you don't have the empty fxml, that's okay, because you probably haven't done one yet. You go to other, you go to the JavaFX folder, and then you find the empty fxml. We'll go ahead and do that. We'll give it a name. So how about this is more GUI fun. Yeah, that should be fine. Right, going in the package, great. And yes, we want to use a controller. This is real important. Check the use controller. Name's the same thing that with throw the word controller after it. Should be fine. Go next. I don't need the cascading style sheets. Those are fun. We'll talk about them more next semester if you continue on. Now we have an fxml file and a controller file, right? Right now there's not much to it, but it should run, right? I give it a quick little sanity check, make sure it runs, and we get an empty window. Oops, mine's gonna crash because I forgot to rename this. I said you should rename it, and then I forgot to. That was my bad. Yep, there we go. And these errors are awful. This, like, it's kind of in the middle here. And it's not even a great one. Where is it? It tells us it can't find it. It says location is required in your start method. It doesn't even like give you a good can't find this file message. It's super weird. I think that's all we see. Yeah, start at line 30. So line 30 right here is, you can't, this one crashes. So at least you get the file number. So this is more GUI fun.fxml. Now if I try and run it, give that a shot, I should get my empty window. Hey, all right, an empty window. So far so good. So we did all the right steps if that loads, okay? Now we can go have some fun. So if we did the step where we set up Scene Builder, which was in Tools and Options, you go to Java, go to the JavaFX tab. It should say, hey, where's Scene Builder? You just point it to the folder wherever it's installed. Great. I put mine in OpenDev because I like to organize stuff like that. If you didn't change it, it's in like your local app data something. And if you don't know where that is, you go find here. Now this is not Scene Builder itself. This is a shortcut. So if you say open file location, I click open file location, it's going to open the shortcut here. This is my start menu Scene Builder shortcut for it. But I can click on this one and go to properties. And the shortcut will tell me, hey, this is where it is in the start in folder. This is where it's starting Scene Builder. So that I can copy over and go find it here. Paste it in or go browse, okay? Because you got to tell it where Scene Builder is. It doesn't always pick it up automatically. Right, now if we have Scene Builder, when you right-click an fxml file, you should have two options. You should have Open and Edit. Edit gives you the XML view, or the fxml view. Open will launch Scene Builder, this is what we want. We want the shortcuts. Slowly. It's not the fastest tool. But promise you it's much more fun than doing this by hand. And then we can start grabbing all of our controls or containers. So again, we didn't really get much to containers. We focused more on controls to start. These are the easier ones to start with here. Right, so if we grab a button, everyone likes to click buttons here. Right, we can drag a button in. On the right-hand side, we get the properties and we get the code, the important little like accordion windows. So the text here, right, is what's going to show for the name of the button. And I always like to call mine Click Me because I think that's fun. Then in the code section, we need to tell it, well, what should happen when someone does something with this button. So this is the, oh, I got to make sure I'm on the button here. There we go. The on action. And what do we want to call? So what this is going to be the name of a method that's going to run in the controller. Right, so please run this block of code named this. So we'll call this the, I don't know, button click. Oops, I got caps lock there. Button click. All right, make sure you give it a save. I like Control S for save, file save, great. You'll see that little blue bar if you did save it. Then, sure, we can click the button. We need something to update, so labels are great. Labels are places we put text. So I'll grab a label, drag that in there. Now if you're going to interact with something in code, it needs to have an FX ID. This is how you'll reference it in your code. So giving it an FX ID means it's going to show up in your controller. The button we're not really going to reference ever, so it doesn't need an ID because we're not going to say, hey, button something. Maybe we could. Let's do it for fun. We'll add we'll just call this the button here. And then this will be our label. And then I'm going to go to the label and I'm going to get rid of the text because I don't want it to have any text right now. I want it to be blank to start. And now, oops, I can't find it again. So this document view over on the left has all of your items that you've added. You can click on things from here to go find them again if you need to. So I want to change this font because that's kind of small here. Come on, font. There we go. All right, and of course, Comic Sans is the best font. Change it to Comic Sans, and let's crank this up a little bit here. How about 22? All that good. Again, make sure you save. Get the nice blue bar. Changes were saved. Now, if you come back, a bunch of stuff was added in here. Right, this is all the stuff you could do by hand if you wanted to, but Scene Builder does it for us. And again, it does this layout X and layout Y. The top left is 0, 0. And then X is how many pixels to the right, and Y is how many pixels down from that top. So it's not math land where the origin's in the bottom left. This is computer land where 0, 0 is the top left. So if the numbers look a little funny, that's all it is. Now if we get a run, it's not going to do anything, but we'll see a button. We can click it, but it doesn't do anything. Oh, no, it's crashing. I forgot it. So now what do we get here? Error resolving on action button click. So we never set up that method. Right, so now we want to do the magic part. So you right click the FXML and you say make controller. When you say make controller, it adds everything that we just added in this code here. So it all gets this @FXML tag. So we see our button, we see our label, and we see the button click method was created for us. Again, you're welcome to do this by hand. I don't recommend it. All right, so now we have the method at least. Now it should run. At least it won't crash because it finds everything here, which is nice. It just won't do anything. I can click my button, nothing happens, right? Because we didn't put any code there. So it's running that method, but the method just doesn't do anything. So we come back to our controller. We can make the button, do something with our label. Label set text. Got to change the text of the label. What do we want it to say? Happy Monday? Sure. We can make it say Happy Monday. And it's only going to do it one time, because when it sets text, it'll take out everything that used to be there and replace it with the text you told it to set. So when I click it again, it's setting the text to the exact same thing. So it doesn't look like anything's happening. So if we wanted to, we could add to that text instead. Right, we could give the string for the current text is the label.getText. And I can take the current text plus equals a new line character and Happy Monday. So you got to do your own new lines. It's a little bit obnoxious. And then we could set the text to current text. Right? Anything that's a string, you can give here. Okay. So every time we click it now, I'll get what it was there, add another one, and keep on going. And we'll be weirdly happy about Mondays. And they just keep on going. Right? And so the window itself is resizable. That's all kind of built into the JavaFX window thing. I can make it really small, and I can't see my button because there's no XY pixels. There's ways to resize the windows. There's all sorts of fun stuff we can do with that. Maximize your window and all sorts of good things. All right, that was the quick recap of everything we did last Wednesday. Feel okay? I think that's about as far as we got, right? Okay, awesome. So other things we want to do then, other controls. Come back to our FXML. We've got all sorts of fun options. Checkboxes, right, are many can be checked at a time. Think of this one like Subway, right? Like what toppings do you want? You check this one, you check this one, you check this one, you check this one. They don't care which ones you check. They'll throw it on your sandwich, right? A combo box is one and only one can be picked. So this is more like what milk do you want in your coffee or your espresso? Do you want it to be cow milk, soy milk, almond milk, coconut milk? I feel like there's a fifth option now. Isn't there like one more milk that they have now?
Skim.
Okay, so cow. Okay, so it'd be whole milk or skim milk maybe. Maybe as the cow milk options. Yeah, maybe half and half. Yep.
Oat milk's the big one.
Oat milk. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, that's a new oat milk. I like soy milk. I can't get into the almond milk. Just, I don't know. It's not the same, but I still prefer cow milk. Just still kind of weird to think of it like we drink other mammals' milk, but I don't know. Apparently, it's a thing. We've been doing it for a while. Unless you're lactose intolerant, then you have to go to goat milk. So my mother likes goat milk. And
I read something once about humans aren't supposed to consume lactose after adolescence. So like that's an actual physiological thing, and like we're able to tolerate it just because we keep drinking it past that point.
So your body's like, okay, I keep having it. We'll do it.
Milk for like a few months, like 6 months or so, or longer. Then when you come back, you have to readjust your body.
Wow, so you relearn to be not lactose intolerant. It's a shame if you like ice cream.
Yeah.
Ice cream's good stuff.
There's cashew ice cream is way better than regular ice cream. My wife's lactose intolerant.
Cashew ice cream.
Try it. It's twice as expensive, but it's really
Cashew ice cream. I'm gonna look at that later.
write that down.
Yeah, I am.
So
So Notepad is actually one of the, I would say, the best place to put notes if you just want a really quick short one, because your computer won't shut down if you tell it to shut down if Notepad is open. It is like the only program that will keep Windows from shutting down. It's like Notepad is busy because it prompts up, hey, do you want to save this? Probably a better tool would be something that like automatically syncs to the cloud, but Notepad's been like that for years and years and years and keeps stuff from shutting down.
that's the original text editor, right?
Yep. Our terrible text editor here. There's plenty other good ones. I'm in the habit of Notepad for silly things. So, all right. So we can do that. We can build a little coffee shop here then, right? So let's pick some. I probably want combo. No, I'm sorry, not a combo box. I want a radio button. I said the wrong one. Radio buttons are click one, right? Have one thing clicked at a time. So we can grab some radio buttons here. Grab some radio buttons. Oh, not the progress indicator. I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. Not that. Just delete you. There we go. Radio button. And a radio button. And a radio button. And again, there's good ways of making these, like, put them in locations and have amounts of spacing and all sorts of stuff and ways to make your UI look nice. Let's just be honest, it's beyond what we're aiming for. Okay, we just want functional. You can worry about pretty and nice later. Okay, this is definitely not the focus. All right, so we'll make this one be what do we want? 2% milk. 2% milk. And this one might be whole milk. And then we had soy milk. We had almond milk. And we had oat milk. Is that all of our options? All right, cool. And then we'll move this, and maybe we'll say, buy my coffee drink. Sure. Okay, so we got a couple radio buttons here. Now, with radio buttons, you can group them together, right? I can have different sets of radio buttons that are mutually exclusive. So if I have other radio buttons, like is it coffee, is it decaf, is it espresso, is it something, I probably don't want those ones linked to my milk options, right? We might even want one for no milk, right? How about maybe that, no milk, or just black? Because once you pick one, there's no way to like unclick it, which is kind of weird. Like once you click that radio, like once you push that button in, it's pushed. You can't unpush it unless you pick a different one. But to group them, you have to give them a toggle group. This is our creamer option, milk option, creamer. I don't know. Let's say creamer. And I'm going to put all of them into the creamer toggle group. And actually, it gives me a drop down, which is nice. I don't even have to copy paste, but copy paste isn't too bad. And then you can pick one of them if you want it to be selected to start. There's this little selected checkbox. So I'll say, hey, this one's selected. So we'll give that as the default option. Start's already selected. And that way I know one of these radio buttons will be selected. It's going to make life a little easier for me in my code. Now I need to reference all of these in my code. So they all need FX IDs. This is, I don't know, creamer black. This one will be creamer 2%. And the percent sign is not a valid identifier, right? Can't use the percent sign in the name. This is creamer whole. So I'm starting all of them with creamer because I want them to like be named similar, so it's easy for me to find these things. You don't have to, but I think that makes life easier. Creamer soy, creamer almond, and creamer oat. Okay, so we got all of our options here. Great. Now we're going to want another set of radio buttons for like what kind of coffee drink, right? Was it going to be regular coffee, decaf coffee, espresso, tea, right? Some people like tea lattes. So we'll put a couple options in here. We'll make this one be the, I don't know, drink coffee, or this is brewed coffee, right? Brewed coffee. And we'll have another radio button. Oh, we got to change the name of it here. Sorry. Change the text that it's displaying to brewed coffee. Then we can add another one for espresso. Espresso. There's two S's in there? No, one S to start, right? Espressor. Espresso. Okay, and then we'll call this one our, what do we call it, a drink, right? Yeah, drink. Espresso. We'll add another radio button for drink decaf. And we'll make this one decaf. So you can get brewed coffee, you can get espresso, you can get decaf. Right? Do we want to, we could add tea if we wanted to, right? We're going to add tea for fun. We'll make this tea. Now, tea has its own whole set of options, but we'll pretend there's just one generic tea. Just don't tell that to a drink person or a tea person because they'll get offended with you. Okay? And now let's probably make the brewed coffee be the default one. Right? So we'll set that one as selected. Sure. And then where's our label? So our label's over here. It's kind of hard to move when it's empty. So if you go just give it some text for a second, then you can go drag it around. Oops, not that one. Then you can drag the label around, and then you can take the text off. So that one thing, if you're moving those around. Now, some places will give you milks for free, but all the fancy milks or milk alternatives cost more money. Right? That like soy milk is another, what, 50 cents a shot or something? So we'll say, hey, this is plus 0.5. Are all of the soy milks and almond milks the same? Like additional 50 cents, or we charge more for some of the other ones? It's up to you. This is our coffee shop. All the same. All right, awesome. So maybe these, we should probably put these, I think we're backwards. Maybe we should have done the drink first and then the creamer second. So I'm going to move these around in a second. Let's do this. Grab T. All right, so I'm going to try and select all of these. So if you control click, it'll select more than one at a time. And you can drag them all. Let's put them all like over here for now. Grab these ones. Put these over here. And I'll grab all these ones again. And they'll drag them back a little bit. All right. And then, right, they're not kind of aligned, but those red lines show up to kind of show you alignment. So see, it shows up, there's like center aligned. It's a little funky sometimes, but there's the left align. Okay, so how much is brewed coffee then? That's what, like $1? 10 cents. Oh, nice. I like your coffee shop. I'll patronize your shop.
They pay you.
All right, espresso. How much are we going to charge for espresso?
Negative 50 cents.
50 cents for espresso? All right. Oh, these should probably have zeros too then, shouldn't they? It doesn't need to be super pretty, but it should be consistent at least if we're going to have pennies. All right, how much is the decaf coffee? That's going to be the same price, right, as coffee? Which is not real coffee, by the way. Decaf is some other nonsense. How much we charge for tea?
$10.
$10 for tea. All right, tea, that's some expensive tea. They're going to think we missed a decimal place.
You ever been to the Boston Tea Room?
No. They're good?
Yeah, it's like a witch store that sells tea.
Oh, okay.
There's a similar one in downtown Ann Arbor. Close to Ann Arbor, right?
Not too much. I mean, it's not too far. It's like half an hour for me to get to Ann Arbor. All right, so we got our label. So we've got all of these have IDs, right? So we can reference them. They have, these ones are the drinks. Oh, I need to put these in their toggle group, right? To make sure that these are picked one at a time. So this will be our drink toggle group here. So then one and only one in each toggle group can be picked at a time. Okay. Awesome. Oh, we missed half and half, but that's okay. We already got a ton of options. This is already going to be tedious as is. Give it a save. And we come back and we should have in our fxml a whole bunch of stuff in the edit here. Look at that. We got all the creamers, we got all the drinks, all their locations in their different toggle groups here. Right? So like their toggle group is defined, which is pretty cool. So it works out pretty nice. You can say which one is selected here. That's a weird one there. Did I miss the toggle group for drink brewed coffee? I don't see that there. Yeah, it doesn't have a toggle group on the brewed coffee. It's easy to miss stuff sometimes. Oh, it's there. Toggle group drink. Okay. Oh, that one has the first toggle group defined. Let's add it here. All right. So now we've got all that. Now we want to right click and make controller to add all of those as fxml class level attributes. These are all private instance variables here, right, that I can reference. There's groups and there's buttons. Okay, so now when someone clicks my label here, we don't want to say Happy Monday anymore. We're going to go find out what drink they're buying, right? So to find out which one is selected is a little bit funky. So all of these radio buttons have a property. So we can say the drink coffee or drink brewed coffee dot is selected is going to be true or false. This will tell me whether or not this one is selected. So if this is selected, right, then I can do something with it. So I'm going to have a double for a total cost. We're going to start off at 0. Then the coffee we said cost 10 cents. So we'll take our total cost plus equals 10 cents. Right? Else if my drink espresso is selected, well, then our total cost plus equals, what do we say was the espresso? I forget already. 50 cents. No, 0.5 semicolon. There we go. Else if my drink decaf is selected, total cost plus equals 0.1. And then else if my drink tea is selected, let's take that total cost plus equals $10. Tea's expensive, I guess. Right, so just figuring out which drink they want, right? We're going to look at all of them. Now, we could possibly do it with an else, because I know only one of these can be selected, and if it's not the first 3, it should be the last. But if I ever go add another option, then I'm going to have to change it anyway. So I think an else if is probably better here, just in case we're going to change things later down the road. So we've got that. Now we also need some sort of like a string for the receipt, right? So we're going to start off at nothing, and then if they pick brewed coffee, we're going to take our receipt and we'll add to it brewed coffee 0.10, right? Try and make this a nice, pretty looking thing here. We can add espresso, we can add decaf, we can add tea. This was espresso, was 50 cents, and then our decaf coffee was 10 cents, and our tea was $10, right? So add that to the receipt. Okay. So then when we're done with all of this, we haven't done the milk options yet, but that's okay. We can take our label and we can set text to the receipt, right? We also want to show them a cost, right? So we need a total cost, right? We need a tax because you have to charge tax on things. Otherwise, the state of Michigan gets upset with you. So we'll figure out the sales tax. Sales tax equals 0.06 times the total cost, right? And then we'll take our receipt and I'm going to add to it sales tax. And we probably need a bunch of new lines here, right? We've added something. Everything else should get a new line. So sales tax plus then my sales tax. Now, really, we probably want this formatted though, right? Because you don't want tons of decimal places here. So we should use that string formatting. So let's do string format. Given sales tax, and then that percent 0.2f, right, to do the rounding to 2 decimal places, my sales tax. Right, and then a total is sales tax plus total cost. Right, and probably do some order of operations here. Make sure we're just to be good. What is it not like here? Oh, missed my backslash n somehow. That's weird for the new line. So we'll get what drink they picked, we'll get the sales tax, we'll get the total cost, print it all out here, right? Let's see if that works for us. So brewed coffee. Oh, look at that. We should make this a little wider. Espresso. Decaf. Tea. Looking good so far, right? Not too shabby. All right, cool. So we got a nice little menu here. I think we're missing some dollar signs. Where'd it go? Here's our controller. So here's some dollar signs, right? There we go. Make that even prettier. We got that, but now we don't have the milk options. Right, so now we need to go and check if my creamer 2% is selected. And this is where it gets tedious, right? We're just going to check all these different ones here. We can add to our total cost and add to our receipt, right? So the 2 creamers were free, right? 2% and whole milk were free. We were only charging for soy milk, almond milk, and oat milk. But we might want to add this to the receipt that it's with this, right? So I can take my receipt and I can say plus equals. We want the new line, and then we can even tab it in if we wanted to, right? The tabbing kind of indents it. Tab might be too much, maybe just like 2 spaces or something. We'll say with 2% milk. Then we don't have to change the cost at all, right? We're just adding this as a line here. Let me come over to my fxml, find my label. Actually, can I just make this window bigger? Goodness. There we go. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. All right, now it should fit. So great, we've got the 2% milk, else if my creamer whole milk is selected, take our receipt, right, with whole milk and a bunch of else ifs, right? We had creamer soy milk, we had our creamer oat milk, and we had our creamer almond milk. Now these ones, though, had additional costs, right? So we'll take our total cost, right? And maybe we put this in here, plus 0.50. Right, so let them know, we'll be a good shop here. We don't add charges without telling them about it on the receipt. And add 0.5 to the total cost. Okay, let's give that a run. So So we're doing this bad thing where everything's happening in the event handler. We're not using a class for any of our business logic here. This is not the most complicated coffee shop yet. So we can throw it all in here and we'll feel a little bit bad about it. But now we get whole milk, or 2% milk, whole milk, soy milk, almond milk, oat milk. Looking good so far. Right? We're just kind of linking them all up. Right? And they should all work. Hopefully. That make sense? Now, it's kind of annoying to have to click this buy button every time, though, isn't it? Right? Wouldn't it be nice, like, as I picked it, it would update my receipt for me? Like the little, like, preview label when you order things? So let's do that. So let's go back to our FXML. Let's take a look at the code section of our buttons. There is an on action on radio buttons. So we'll call this one, I don't know, coffee or drink clicked. And I'm going to add the same drink clicked event handler to each of these. So you can have the same event handler method associated with multiple objects. In our case, sure, we don't really care, right? Because we're going to do the exact same thing anyway. We already wrote all the code for it. If you wanted to have separate methods, each one then could trigger its own method to like add to the receipt. That gets a little bit complex, but as you see, when things get bigger, sometimes that works out a little bit nicer. So for our example, we don't need to worry about it, but we'll get there. We'll get there, okay? All right, so I saved my changes. I'm going to come back, right-click, and make controller. And I'm going to see there's a new method here now. This is the drink clicked method. Well, really, all of this stuff, right, is the same thing I want to do when I click one of those drinks. Right? So I'm going to take all of this out, I'm going to cut it all out, and I'm going to add my own method here that's not an FXML method. I'll just call this a private void, I don't know, show receipt. And we'll do all of that in the show receipt method. So then in the event handler, for button click or drink clicked, all I need to do is say show receipt. And a semicolon. So either one of those then can trigger the show receipt method. So brewed coffee, espresso, decaf, tea. As I check them here, they change. Now I didn't do it with milks yet. I'll have to do it with milks yet, but we can go to do that in a second. So really, milks are the same one then, right? It's not even really, I don't need a separate drink clicked or milk clicked. I just call it something clicked. Or I can just use the same button click on all of them if I wanted, right? They're all button clicks essentially. So let's do that. Let's put them all as button click. Put all these actions as button click, button click, button click, button click, button click, button click. I'm going to change all these to be button click too. Change that to button click, button click, my goodness, button click, and button click. Okay, so now they're all the same. Okay, we'll come back, right click, make controller. Okay, and now I don't need the drink. See, the FXML tag came off of this one. It doesn't delete the code for you. So removing things can get a little funky, but you see the FXML tag is gone, so I know I can get rid of it because no one else is using it. And now really it could just be the same thing back in the button click method instead of show receipt, but it's not going to hurt anything being here. Okay, let's give it a run. Let's see now if we can buy some coffee with some fancy milks. Decaf, whole milk, soy milk, oat milk. Right now I don't need to go back to buy drink, so maybe the buy then could like prompt for payment information. Right? Okay, how are you going to pay for this? Right? That sort of thing. So maybe this is just setting up the display, and then we can actually go and buy here. Right? With this button, we can make it do a different thing. That make sense? All right. How's that feel? Not too bad, right? A little tedious having to find which buttons we clicked, which radio buttons were selected, but not the worst. And now we might also have like checkboxes. We could add in things for sugars, right? Or I don't know if you want like 1 sugar, 2 sugars, 3 sugars. Maybe that's a another drop-down option. That might be fun. We do some sugars. How about we do that? We've been talking for a little while. We're getting close to 11, so why don't we take a break? take 10 minutes. We'll come back, add a couple more options to this, and then we do need to talk about the rubric for the final project. I promised that as well. And then we'll have a little bit of time to work on anything else, okay? All right, so let's take 10. We'll put the music on. And we can go from there. Hey, Mo2, you want a dad joke? I got a couple in here. I've been saving.
Oh,
Been saving.
I'm so glad I totally just had the stream open a farm channel when both sitting in the very same room.
Let me see. Where did it go? Oh man, I had a couple in here. There we go. So I've been trying to organize a hide and seek tournament, but it turns out good players are really hard to find. That would look like actually a quality joke, right?
I forgot you were telling the joke for a second. So I used, really? I used 500 Xana points on that. Joke's on you, though. I still have 2,000 saved up. Be careful. I'm going to ban the again and start another count.
I will try my best. That one is
I've tried it
difficult.
like 30 times.
It's hard. That is hard to not say that word. Definitely. All right. So we're going to keep on adding some fun stuff to our coffee drink menu here, and then we'll talk about the final project rubric. So some other fun options here are my choice box. So the choice box then gets, hey, what choices do you want in the dropdown? Let's see. I gotta move my label again here too, right? Maybe I'll put this receipt down low. Oops. Don't want to squish that. All right, and now I can't add values, which is a little bit sad here, because it's meant for a multi-set of values, right? You add in a bunch of different ones. And to do that, we do need to flip over to code, which is sad. I don't know why it's not a thing here. I haven't been able to figure that one out. But in code, we give it a name here. This is our sugar select. Sure. So we'll call it the sugar select. Then this one has different actions too, which is a little sad. There's no like on action. So we got to find the right one. We don't want zoom, touch. It's probably up here at the top. We don't want drag. We don't want keyboard. Mouse. How about on mouse clicked? Let's try that one. We'll do this one as the choice box because I don't remember. I think this one has a different action here. We'll give that a save. And we come back to NetBeans. Right click, make controller. And okay, yep. So this one is not an action event; it's a mouse event. So we wouldn't be able to use the same button click one anyway, because a different thing happens. Because it's a mouse event that happens, so you can like get interesting properties about the mouse event, where the mouse was, and all sorts of things. But we need to give it all of its options. So let's actually just go Google that. So JavaFX choice box set options. Let's see. This one looks official. So you have to set items here. Okay. Well, that's fun. So we make our choice box. Now, all of this code then needs to go in initialize. So initialize is kind of like the constructor. So this is when our objects are getting created. Oops, I didn't copy paste. Copy. Oh, I still have the music on. I'm sorry. Okay, my copy paste is not working. I kind of like that, but that's, I don't know, maybe it's distracting. All right, copy paste is failing me. That's okay. So we need to set items here. So we'll take our choice box. This is our sugar select. We're going to call set items. And we have to give it this observable list. There's all sorts of fun things you can do with things that are observable. They will like automatically track each other as they change. We don't have any sort of all that fancy stuff here, so it's not too big of a deal for us. So we want a fx collections.observable list. So fx collections.observable list observable list, and we can give it a bunch of items here then. So we'll have no sugar, and we can give it 1 sugar, 2 sugar. And is that upset with us? Why is it upset with us? Observable list string. Oh goodness. That's what we did here, right? Set items. Choice box. We did this, didn't we? Done this before. Why is this is unhappy with me? All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to cheat here. That was not doing what we needed. I'll try one more Google here, and then I'll just flip back to it. Maybe this one will be it. If not, I can pull up my other example. Yeah, right here. Setting. Even a list of strings. I don't think that's it. Let's try that. So we'll do a string array, options, use the array initializer syntax, right, with those curly braces to initialize it, and then we can give it here. Hey, that did work. Okay. So make array first, hand the array to this observable items collection nonsense. Okay. Now you're red again? It was just fine. Oh. Can't be converted. Oh, observable array list? Okay, let's try that. Observable array list. Incompatible. Ah, have to change that one. There we go. Okay. So we have to tell it, hey, it's a type of string. This isn't something you really get into much until next class. It's magic for now. So if you don't want to use dropdowns, that's okay. I just like them. They're fun. So we tell it, hey, the thing you're going to have in your dropdown is a string. Because you can use other types, which is kind of funky because like you just want to display strings anyway. But you can do cool stuff with it. We make the string array of our options, and then we give the string array to this observable collection thing. It hooks up all the watching behind the scenes, so that if this were to change, it will automatically update our sugar select, which is kind of cool. So like other places in code, we could have this observable array list and modify it, but we're not going to right now. So we'll just have some sugars here. Let's see if we can get those going. All right, I forgot I gotta be watching chat. Hey, Kaiser. All right, a dad joke. You got it. We need another one while that loads. Sorry, I missed that earlier. If you get injured while playing peekaboo, do you know where they have to take you? To the ICU. There you go, Kaiser. All right, that one was not as good as the other one, perhaps, but yeah, it's a fan of that one. There we go. And now in our drop down, we can see sugars. Okay, we're not really doing anything yet with it here. Right, we need to hook that up still, but we've got it so far. Okay. All right, now that we've got that sugar here, we can take our sugar select to set selection model. No, that's not the one we wanted. Wanted to set the first one being selected. I don't see. Google that one too. This choice box is apparently obnoxious. Wow, that's awful. Choice box. Set selected. You can find this one here. You can add tooltips. That's cool. Selected index property. All right, this is an obnoxious one. That's okay. All right, so if we want to find which one was selected, it has this selected model. This sugar select, get selected, selection model. From there, we can figure out which one is selected. The selection model is used to figure out which one is picked. And we want to select the first one. There we go. We'll select the first one. Then in all of our show receipt stuff, right, we need to say whether or not we're going to add some sugar. Now, sugar's free, right? But we can add it at least to the receipt here for our drink. So we're going to check and see which one of these was selected. So no sugar, we don't need to do anything. But if it's 1 sugar or 2 sugar, then we have to go do something with it. So we'll say if our sugar select get selection model dot and it is selected here, and this is by index. So 0 is the first one, 1, 2, right? That's the ones that we add in here. And the idea with this, because it can hold anything, right? It doesn't have to be of type string. It can be of, like when we looked at array lists, you can have an array list of any type. Same idea here. You can have any actual types in that list, and you just index them. Hey, this was the first, this was the second, this was the third, on and on and on. So you can do some interesting selection choices with it. We want to say, okay, if isSelected is 1, oops, no, over here, right? So if 1 is selected, that means we wanted 1 sugar. We'll take our receipt plus equals, we'll add in that new line with 1 sugar, right? Sure. And then else if, same idea here. If 2 is selected, we'll do 2 sugars. And we can add in more options. You can add in your sugar alternatives here if we wanted to, right? In that drop-down list, we could go nuts, much as we wanted. Now, the only downside, we'd have to go and remember what order they were in, right? Because it's not ideal here, but that's okay. Let's see if that works for us here. All right, so no sugars, 1 sugars, whole milk, 1 sugar, cool. Oh, it didn't pick up 2 sugars though. Picked up 1 sugar. Did I not rename it? I didn't rename it right, or I didn't do something right here.
No, you spelled sugar wrong. I wasn't sure if it was
Sugar, yep. Sugar. 2 sugar. I'm doing it by index. Oh, I didn't change the index. It was if 1 is selected, else if 1 is selected. Yeah. So if 2 is selected, there we go. And now we need that mouse event. So that's not actually the right event that we want. So dealing with events on these is kind of obnoxious. You have to add a listener, and this is more of the coding side of things. So you can say, hey, when this changes, I want to go do something. Or we can try the mouse event. So I think we'll try the mouse event and see how well that works for us. I think it should be fine. We'll do the show receipt. If it doesn't work, we'll try it the other way. And close this one down. Oh, and I forgot to get rid of the text here. That shouldn't start with A, right? Make that just be empty again. Okay, it's running. Whole milk. 1 sugar. Okay, yeah. Oh, there it goes. 2 sugars. Oh, it got the 1 sugar. 2 sugars. Is it just going really slow? 1 sugar. 1 sugar.
It changes when you select it, when you click the drop down menu again.
That's not what we want. Okay. So we've got to set it to the other I guess we could do that on mouse exit. I don't know. We should do it the right way then, because this is not doing exactly what we want. These events are obnoxious. So the event is really on the item being selected, not the drop-down box itself. Could do. I mean, we could put it on some of these, but it's okay. All right, I'll take that one out. I'll take that out. And we'll save it. So we'll go back to our code. And we'll make controller again. Controller, get rid of that thing. So we want to set that as the event listener. So we can do that in our code. So sugar select, get selection model, set oh, where is it? Wasn't off the selection model? Selected index property. Selected index property. There we go. Dot set listener. No, add listener. We're going to add a listener. Now, we don't... You can do this anonymous inner class code. This is the stuff I was trying to avoid because it's annoying. So we don't want any of that. Right? We just want to call that same method here. So we want to add a listener. And we want .cl. Can we do the button click thing? I think we can. Receipt. Show receipt. That's not what we want. Choice box, add listener. Find the right one here. This is not the same. Yeah, we don't want this change listener nonsense thing here. That's no fun. Add listener. Aha. I think this is it. This looks like garbage, I'm sorry. Receipt. Show receipt. That one work? Too many parentheses. Nope. That one still doesn't work. Oh, there we go. Do we got our import? What? Try that one. Why is that one not working for us? Oh, I'm sorry. This is... Yeah. Set on action? Do we have an on action? That's what I want, is an on action. I didn't get an on action, though. There's a set on action. Look at that. All right, well, they're a winner.
They're Canadian.
Are they?
Yeah, it's Dave. They're both. And that'd be
Oh. I gotcha. Hey, and show receipt. All right, this might work. This is a Lambda. It lets you do shortcuts. It's for anonymous code. Don't worry about it till next semester. It's just magic. Is that okay for now? Okay. I feel really bad, but we don't have time to get into all of what this is. I think the book might even show you actually as an option. I think it shows you lambdas. Let's try it. One sugar, two sugar, no sugar. It's working. Yay! All right, all that to get our drop down. That was the most obnoxious drop down box we've ever made. Really should be easier than that, and it's not. I'm sorry. Okay. Same idea though. Right? Have a bunch of options. If you wanted to add your sugar alternatives, we could do all that sorts of stuff. Right. All right. Let me commit that to GitHub. So we got that for fun. And again, this one's not using the class code to talk to. We'll look at that come Wednesday. We'll look at how we can hook it up to have some business logic that the UI talks to, so we don't have to have everything in here. It's essentially like pushing off all of this, building the receipt and doing the total into a class, and we just have to tell it, hey, this one was picked or this one was picked. We add a bunch of methods. It's not the worst thing in the world. We'll probably work on modifying this one here. Come on, GitHub. 1500. All right, so here's more GUI fun. And we got to come back to our final project and talk about the rubric here. Come on. Like, free up some resources here. I'll just close NetBeans. Yes, exit please. My computer's sad, I'm sorry. What's that one? All right, so for our final project, right, which is, where'd it go? 40% of the overall score. This is the big one, right? Again, the goal is everyone gets it done. I've gotten several comments throughout the different projects that people say, oh, I got stuck, I didn't know what to do. I probably should have asked you sooner, or asked you at all. And it makes me a little sad. Like, literally, that's why they pay me, right? To be here to help you guys learn it, right? Anybody can go buy a book. That's not the exciting part here. We got this here. So please reach out if you get stuck. Again, give it a good half hour to an hour of trying to figure it out yourself. And then when you're still stuck, that's okay. You're new. You've been doing it for not even an entire semester yet, right? So ask for help. One of the worst things you can do when you get into the industry as a software developer is not ask for help. If you get given a task and you just sit there and you can't get it done and you can't get it done and you can't get it done and you're banging your head against the wall, it's going to delay the project you're working on because it hasn't gotten done yet, right? One of I forget who gave me the term. Someone at some point gave this term, and I think it's fantastic. He said you just need to take a big bite of humble pie and go talk to one of the senior developers and say, I'm not really sure, I'm stuck. I've tried these couple things here and they're not working for me. Can you help me out? Because hiding the fact that you're failing is just going to make it worse down the road rather than saying, I don't know. Can you help me? Right? We don't expect junior developers to know everything. They're new. That makes sense, right? So it's a little weird and it feels funny, but you just take a bite of humble pie and admit that you don't know it. And nobody knows everything. One of my favorite guys in the tech field, Scott Hanselman, talks all the time about how he just has to go Google every time he does a regex. That's just what you do. If you don't work with it all the time, you have to go Google it. There's no shame in having to go look stuff up or ask other people, right? Because no one can keep it all in our head. So try for a little bit and come ask, okay? That's the goal. If everyone gets 100% on the project, I am super happy. Like, I love that. and it makes grading really easy. When I'm like, yeah, they did it all. Everyone got points on it. It's all good. All right, so we need to add a rubric. So we need a couple pieces here of this. It does it in a new page. And let me need both windows open here. So it's gonna like take that page away from me when I hit create new rubric. So this is a bad design, thanks D2L, by the way. Hiding my actual assignment description when I try and build a rubric.
How about treating it like Facebook, and anytime any of my 5 teachers have an announcement, it erases, or not erases, but it like throws an important announcement from another teacher way at the bottom of the list.
Oh no!
How it went.
Oh,
I don't see it, or
you have like a single announcement feed.
yeah,
Oh.
it's the same thing as Facebook. You get that little dot, and then if you click on it, then you only have you see the 5 last announcements. But if one instructor just posted like, let's say, 5 documents,
Yeah.
that's all 5.
Oh, that's not useful. Yeah, I've seen other class course tools that are better than D2L, but they all have some issues, so I don't know. Missing or complete. All right, so we're gonna go 5 points each on this, and I think this will get us through here. Right, so the first part here. Right, we're gonna have a class for room. Class for, or well, the room class. Okay. Then we're going to have them in a 2D list. Have map 2D list of rooms. Right? So make an array of array or array list of type room, with that being our class. Right? The room has the gold, it has the NPC that's in it, that sort of information. Right? Whether or not it's been blocked, right? You're welcome to put some rooms in here that, hey, you can't go in this room, and you just can't go that direction. When you try and go north, south, east, or west, if there's a room on the other side that's blocked, so you can't go that way. Right, it's fine. The tunnel, the room collapsed, or I don't know, whatever you want to call it for this dungeon crawl or something. Come up with some good narrative. I'm still working on being a better storyteller. That's a goal of mine, which apparently a friend of mine, which is super weird, you can get a master's degree in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's actually like all sorts of crazy detail. I forget where he was going to school for it. I should have asked. But like, there's tons of detail. Like, he would talk about the things they learn about, and like, there's so many details you don't appreciate. But this guy was like weirdly brilliant. But like, so you'd be having a conversation with them, telling a story of like, this is something that happened to me, and he'd like try and point out all these things that you did when you were telling the story, and you're like, I was just telling you something that happened in my day. But come on, guy.
Along the way in the curriculum, there's dad jokes class.
Yeah, dad jokes. All right, cool. So we got our maze, and we'll have our player class. Great. We'll have our NPC class. Now, these are actually very similar. There's not too much different aside from how their stats are assigned. So you're welcome to take advantage of that instead of doing the exact same work twice. You can get them just because it says 2 different classes here, right? Like if they're the same one, or if one extends the other through some inheritance or anything you want to do here, you're welcome to do it. But this is like an easy little checklist for that. Right, and then we can search rooms for gold. Can sleep in rooms to regain hit points. You can, what do we have in here? The attack and NPC. And runaway. Runaway option. That put us at 40. Right, so having the room class, having your 2D list of rooms, in the player class, the NPC class, being able to search the room for golds, sleep in rooms, attack an NPC, run away. Attack's like the most complex one. I feel like that might be worth a couple more points, but that messes with my even everything's 5. That make sense? So just kind of breaking it down. Here's this feature, here's this feature, here's this feature. Like these things being classes is a design portion, but like it being the 2D list that you can navigate, being able to search, those are more like functions versus design. So we'll have a little bit of the design piece and then a little bit of the function piece. Is that fair? All right. So it's not wordy. Like go back to the description for all the words and like what that all means and things, or how this all works. But that's sort of the idea here. Is that fair? Okay. And if it's not clear, please do let me know. Right? Ask. I don't want to put it all in caps. I hate yelling at people online. Have any questions or concerns? Sooner rather than later. Okay. Again, happy to work with you. We'll have time at the end of every class from now until we present, including that additional last week is nothing but time to work on this, where I can walk around and help, that sort of thing. So it should be a little fun, a little bit fun. So we've had some pretty cool looking projects. Again, don't go for pretty, get the function first, and then you're welcome to add in the pretty and the fun stuff. Go to town on it after you get the functional stuff you're going to get the points for. And then we'll get a chance, we can see how everyone built them themselves. I'll show you a layout of what it might possibly look like. Once I show people, like everyone tends to copy it and I feel bad, but some people have like no idea how to lay it out, so that's okay. So I'll show you one option and you're welcome to copy it if you want, but you're welcome to build it entirely your own. It can be any way you want, okay? And we'll go from there. All right, thanks folks who are online. I'll be around on Discord. Let me know if you have any questions. Take care.